Welcome to my PowerPoint about hero powers for 5,000 subscribers. Starting with Death Knight, Ghoul Charge is genuinely one of the best hero powers in the entire game. It is consistently just a 2 mana, 1 damage ping that also gives you a corpse. And of course, Death Knight is really good at spending corpses. It's kind of what the entire class is built around. You can then use Ghoul Charge very efficiently in even Death Knight. You can get a 1 mana 1/1 that has charge to ping a minion, which is very good for fighting for board. It can buff cards like Knife Juggler because you get a very easy and repeatable access to a to a minion that also helps fight for board, keep Knife Juggler alive. Because it gives you corpses so efficiently, it's great with cards like Grave Strength as ways to generate a lot of corpses, and since it is a charge minion, it doubly synergizes with the Grave Strength because you can just hero power for Grave Strength to have another body. It's really, really good. Ghoul Charge has seen so much usage as a hero power that, like, even in standard at one point, they're running Tour Guide specifically just to be able to get Ghoul Charge out on like turn 1 or 2, depending on what you're playing, to either buff it with cards like Arms Dealer, to play things like Construct Quarter on it, or just anything under the sun. Ghoul Charge has been really, really good. You can turn it into a 4/5 with Construct Quarter, or the 2 mana spell, I can't remember what's off the top of my head, that's just transform a friendly minion into a 4/5 with Rush. It's really nice. It's just, Ghoul Charge has been great. It's genuinely one of the best hero powers. Death Knight really does have like a lot of power put into its hero power, and it's kind of sad because the upgraded hero power summons a 2/1 with charge. If it summoned 2 1/1s with charge, it would probably be like the best odd deck probably ever. I'm going to be honest with you. Odd decks have been pretty bad in Wild for a long time. So giving, Death Knight the costed hero power would have been quite nice, especially considering a lot of buffs that came to Death Knight over the years. Cards like Corpse Bride, which was buffed, or Stitch Giant, which was also buffed, would benefit immensely from having the 2 mana summon 2 1/1s with charge, die to your end of turn hero power for ways to generate a lot of corpses to do some broken things, but we don't have that. We have the 2/1. It is quite sad. Then we have Demon Hunter. So Demon Claws is the cheapest base hero power, and it's been able to use that quite well. It doesn't matter what Demon Hunter deck you're playing. You can play an aggressive Demon Hunter, you can play a combo Demon Hunter, you could be playing an OTK Demon Hunter. Getting Demon Claws to fill out your mana to just do a little bit of chip damage to your opponent is genuinely quite powerful. Because Demon's Claws does cost 1, that means the upgraded hero power, Demon's Bite, also costs 1. So this is effectively the strongest odd cost hero power because it combines both costing 1 from the even cost hero power and being an upgraded hero power. Yes, +2 attack is not as good as, say, gain 4 armor or summon 2 1/1 recruits or, deal 3 damage, but it's 1 mana, so it is better than those. Demon Hunter has been one of, if not the best classes at using Inspire, mainly because it has a 1-cost hero power. The issue is, of course, Demon Hunter just doesn't have really good cards to use Inspire on. Yeah, it has Lowly Squire, and Lowly Squire is overall a pretty okay card, but if there were better cards that had Inspire for Demon Hunter to use, it probably would, pop up more. Back in the day when Demon Hunter first came out, Odd Demon Hunter was genuinely a playable deck. Of course, after repeated nerfs to the class and no real support, as well as odd decks just becoming worse as time goes on, we haven't seen Odd Demon Hunter genuinely be that good in a long time, but it still has the benefits of being an odd deck and an even deck at the same time, so it makes use of, again, Lowly Squire to great efficiency. I like Demon's Claws. I think this is one of the more interesting hero powers. I like the fact that it does just base cost 1. It genuinely provides a lot of different gameplay decisions for Demon Hunter. Do I press the hero power or do I draw cards first? Has been a big thing for questline Demon Hunter, because sometimes you're going to be attacking on your turn, but you still have enough mana that you're like, okay, maybe I want to be playing cards I draw from cards like Quick Pick. But then sometimes you don't actually draw something, so it really does matter. Do I spend this mana now or do I try and spend it later? It has genuinely affected a lot of players as well. It really is a good thing for the game when there is decision making that, genuinely matters. Pressing the hero power or not does matter a lot of the time. Then we have Druid. So Shapeshift is great. It's a good hero power. It lets you heal 1 damage while also dealing 1 damage at the same time. So say you want to trade into a 3/1 minion, instead of taking 3 damage, you're only taking 1 or 2 damage. Of course, this isn't as good as stuff like Fire Blast, I think it's called the Mage one, or Ghoul Charge, but it gives Druid the ability to have a little bit of healing to get out of range of certain combos. There have been many times in Hearthstone where combos cap out at 32 damage, and Druid can just press their hero power 3 times and get out of it. And that's how Druid wins genuinely into some combo matchups. Dire Shapeshift is probably one of, if not the best, odd cost hero powers. It's just like significantly stronger than a lot of the other ones for, I'll admit, some weird reasons. Getting 2 armor and 2 attack is quite good, and Odd Druid has been genuinely a good deck at one time. Odd Questline Druid was genuinely very good back in United and Stormwind when Odd Questline Hunter was the best deck in the game. It was a great counter matchup for that deck, and it was overall pretty good because you just gained so much armor and you would race other aggro decks. It's, again, not that great in now, like, today's game, because there's better ways to play, you know, Questline Druid, and Odd Druid just hasn't really gotten anything to make use of it, but it's still really nice. We can't talk about hero powers and Druid without talking about, well, the hero power Druid cards that came out in Festival of Legends. Groovy Cat and Free Spirit. Free Spirit has been very underwhelming in both formats. Yeah, gaining armor on your hero power is nice, and if Free Spirit costs 2, I would potentially run it in even Druid, but overall, the only like hero power based Druid decks that you're really seeing are Questline Druid, which doesn't want Free Spirit, and even Druid, which can't run Free Spirit. Groovy Cat, on the other hand, has been great. It's very good in Questline Druid because you get to have, you know, your 5 damage hero power, which is very good. It just is. That can ramp your quest very efficiently. And in Even Druid, you combine it with Garrison Commander and Sing-Along Buddy to kill your opponent. You'll typically be doing anywhere from 20 to 30 damage, depending on how many combo pieces you deal to your opponent, on like an average game. Back before Celestial Projectionist was nerfed, you could typically be doing a lot more damage because you could Celestial Projectionist your Groovy Cats to get more copies very efficiently, but you can't do that anymore, which is really sad. I'm going to be honest, it's really, really sad. Even Druid is one of my favorite decks ever. You just play aggressive, you hit your opponent in the face a couple times, you only have to deal like 10 to 15 damage on average, and then you get your turn 6 turn, where if you've played 2 Groovy Cats, you'll gain 5 attack from your hero power, you can get 10 from Sing-Along Buddy, and then 20 from Garrison Commander. It's very, very fun. If you've never played Even Druid, I would recommend trying it. It's not good, so it's not like the list you build matters, but there's a lot of cards that feel like definitely make sense to be running in the deck that you'll see if you just look through the collection. Then we have Hunter. So Steady Shot is one of the best hero powers in the game. It has been for, like, basically since the game came out. 2 mana, deal 2 damage. It's just really good. It's one of the reasons that Hunter is really strong at low ranks, because low rank players don't play optimal decks. So just pressuring your opponent with Steady Shot is really, really strong. And it really has been one of the downfalls of Hunter, is that Steady Shot is just so powerful that they can't really do much to print other powerful cards in the class on average, like especially burn cards, because they don't want Hunter dominating low ladder. Paladin gets to do it for like 4 years straight, but whatever. We're not going to talk about Paladin just yet. We'll talk about Paladin later. I mean, yeah, Steady Shot's just really good. It becomes Arcane Shot every turn when you're even. It becomes a Dark Bomb, pre-buff, every turn when you're odd. It's just really, really nice. Of course, you know, everyone knows about Even Hunter at this point. I've made a trillion videos talking about Even Hunter, talking about Odd Hunter, talking about different Hunter decks, things like that. So everyone knows about how just Phase Stalker and other very powerful cards synergize with Steady Shot. You can use Sing-Along Buddy, Garrison Commander, Phase Stalker, Felfire Deadeye, all of them together. A lot of really powerful 2-drops. You can make your hero power cost 0 because of Felfire Deadeye. And then you can deal a lot of damage to your opponent's face over the top that they can't really stop. Again, that's why Steady Shot is so strong, because it's just built in. And it's fun. I love Steady Shot. I love it so much. But we have to talk about Ballista Shot now. So Odd Hunter has been really bad its entire existence, except for less than a month when United and Stormwind came out and Defend the Dwarven District was printed. So Defend the Dwarven District originally read deal damage with 2 spells, and Rapid Fire was 1 mana. It was 1 mana, twin spell, deal 1 damage. So it was very, very efficient to complete the quest in Odd Hunter, And then because your hero power also dealt 1 additional damage, since it was free anyway, you would just spam the shit out of your hero power and you would kill your opponent. And they did not like this gameplay pattern. I can understand why. It was a little toxic, I will admit. Not nearly as toxic as a lot of things that have existed in the game recently, but whatever. It's hard to talk about Odd Questline Hunter without being a little, like, upset that that's what got nerfed and then other decks haven't, I will be honest, but I love Odd Hunter, I love Questline Hunter, I love Even Hunter, I love Hunter, I love pressing the button. I mean, my fucking YouTube profile is Sing-Along Buddy. I put Sing-Along Buddy at the end of all my videos. I have Sing-Along Buddy singing the Saviors of June theme in all my videos. So you know how much I love Even Hunter, and Even Hunter is not the best deck to make use of Sing-Along Buddy. I'm sorry, it just isn't. We'll get to it in a little bit, but it's something all right. Then we have Mage. So Mage is awkward to talk about, because even an odd Mage are decks that people like to play, but they're not good, and I don't really want to talk about them because so. Back when Wildfire cost 2 mana, even Mage was actually quite good. It was genuinely a pretty decent deck, mainly because you had cards like Reckless Apprentice and Mordresh Fire-Eye that did cost even costs as well, and just having a 1 mana hero power that gets ramped, because Mage is one of only 2 classes that can ramp its hero power. It's really good. It was really good. But Wildfire costs 1. It has cost 1 for almost 3 years now. Or I think it's almost 2 years. But still, even Mage is never coming back. So there's just no point to talk about it, in my opinion. Odd Mage is terrible. It's so bad. Again, not worth talking about, in my opinion. But we have regular Hero Power Mage. Regular Hero Power Mage does make use of Sing-Along Buddy. Better than Hunter does, but not the best, in my opinion. And that's because of Reckless Apprentice. So the way the Reckless Apprentice works is it's Battlecry, fire your hero power at all enemies. That gets doubled from Sing-Along Buddy, and it gets doubled from Brand Bronzebeard. So if you have an 8 damage hero power, which isn't that hard, genuinely speaking, because you have Wildfires, you have Rewinds, you have Varden Dawn Grasp, all of these to ramp your hero power, you can deal 32 damage to your opponent by playing Bran, Buddy, Reckless Apprentice. And since you're Mage, you can get to that late in the game. You have freeze effects from Frost Nova, you have armor gain from Sleet Skater, you have Ice Block, so you can genuinely get to that point in the game. And it's genuinely quite good. Usually you don't need all 32 damage or whatever, you'll be able to kill your opponent anyway because you'll just be hero powering them down all games, so they're going to have lower health, but it is nice to have. Then, Mage has a very powerful legendary that actually does synergize with its hero power in Mordresh Fire-Eye. It is an 8 mana 8/8 that if you've dealt 10 damage with your hero power this game, deal 10 damage to all enemies. This is huge. It's a great removal card, it's a great face damage card, it's just really, really good. If you stick a Brand Bronzebeard, not likely, to be honest, you can, but still, it does happen sometimes, you can deal 20 damage with Mordresh, and that's nothing to scoff at. Dealing 20 damage from an 8/8, really, really nice. Mordresh also costing 8 is nice because you can also get some extra damage in with your hero power because it costs 2. So it's very useful to actually have. Mordresh is a very powerful card. Mage has one of the best hero power decks, and it's still not the best use of Sing-Along Buddy in my opinion. So then we get to Paladin. Both Even and Odd Paladin have been meta-defining decks at different points in time. Most recently was Even Paladin, and then it got nerfed, but... So let's start. Even Paladin during Witchwood was the best deck in the game. It just was. They nerfed Call to Arms, and seemingly it stopped being the best deck in the game. However, there was a tweet from Ixar that came out years ago, I couldn't find it, I'm sorry, where he spoke that even Paladin was actually still one of the best decks in the game, even after getting nerfed and losing Call to Arms. It's just no one wanted to play it. They actually had even Paladin still on their radar for being nerfed even during this time if it had a play rate that even rose above, like, I think it was 1% is what he said, but it still never had a above 1% play rate after being nerfed, despite being pound for pound, probably still one of, if not the best decks in the meta at the time, which is insane to think about Witchwood Even Hunter. Most recently, the Even Hunter deck we've had, of course, had reverted Call to Arms in it, so of course it's very good, but it made use of Showdown and Prismatic Beam. Prismatic Beam was nerfed to 8 mana, Showdown still cost 2 mana at the time, and it was really, really powerful. Of course, Showdown was nerfed from 2 to 3 mana, which sucks a lot. You don't get to use Call to Arms, Showdown, and then combine them with Crusader's Aura for incredibly powerful turns, and it's a little sad. Showdown, hopefully, will get reverted when we get the revert patch next year, beginning of the year, which will be nice because even Paladin was really good at keeping degenerate decks in check in a really, really strong way. The meta we have right now in Wild probably would not exist if even Paladin were still around, which says a lot about how powerful this deck was, but who knows. Then we have Odd Paladin. So Odd Paladin was, of course, very good in Witchwood, don't get me wrong, but it mainly started to dominate Hearthstone around the Roscon's Rumble era. It just got so many cards, so many useful effects. The power level of the game was a lot weaker, so it was really good in Standard. And then as time went on, it just got better and better. It got side quests to help buff it. It got... oh gosh, I don't even know what else. It got so much stuff to help buff this deck over time. Warhorse Trainer got buffed twice. They reverted level up from 6 to 5 mana. They printed Silverhand Recruit synergy cards in Nathria. I think it's... I don't remember what it's called. It's a 3-mana spell that summons 2 1/1 recruits and that gives all your recruits +1/+1. It's just so powerful. It's been one of the best decks of all time. Odd Paladin has been so good. It just hasn't really been able to keep up in today's game because, well, the main power of Odd Paladin is that you had the Silver Hand, so you could press the button and then get 2 1/1 recruits that would fight for board really efficiently. But in today's game, that's nothing. When your opponent is playing a 1-mana 1/2 that will summon a 3/2 from their hand and then also gain attack, and then summon a 2/1 from their deck and also gain attack, suddenly 2 1/1s for 2 mana isn't that good. And they're not good for trading or bumping because pirates have just completely cannibalized all aggro decks. And if you're not playing a pirate aggro deck, well, your aggro deck can't function. And that means Odd Paladin can't function anymore. It's really sad to see. This is like a continual story in Hearthstone where X deck can't play the game anymore because pirates just cannibalize all aggro decks. And if your aggro deck isn't as good as pirates, well, you can't play the game. It's not good. It's not healthy. I really wish Blizzard would do something about it, but it's never going to happen. Yeah, it's really sad. Then we get to Priest. So, Odd and Even Priest have obviously been unplayable. I've tried to make Even Priest work with, Sing-Along Buddy and, double overhealing, cards that have overheal effects. It just doesn't work. Lesser Heal is one of the worst hero powers. It has been since the game has come out. And it's so bad that Priest is willing to give up all non-shadow spells just to get Mind Spike from Dark Bishop Benedictus. Yes, you give up all non-shadow spells just to have a deal 2 damage hero power. Just to have the Hunter hero power, effectively. It's a little better because it's targeted. So it's basically the upgraded Mage hero power. But, man, Shadow Priest has been a meta deck since it's come out. Reno Priest has given up on Lesser Heal to make use of Mind Spike, and Mind Spike is really, really strong with both of the Razas. You can spam hero powers with Raza the Chained and Raza the Resealed. You don't need you don't need Shadow Reaper Anduin anymore to deal damage because you have Mind Spike, so you can run Raza the Resealed instead of Anduin. It's really, really strong. Priest is one of the classes that presses the hero power the most. I've probably used the Priest hero power more than I've used, almost any other hero power aside from maybe the Hunter one. Potentially Druid as well. But I've pressed the Priest hero power. If there was a counter on how many times I've pressed the Priest hero power button, it would be a lot. Most people will press the Priest hero power button more than any other hero power ever because of Raza the Chained and Raza the Resealed. And yeah, that says a lot about how powerful Mind Spike is and how powerful hero powering in Priest is. But yeah, it's mainly tied to the power level of a bunch of 5-mana legendaries, which is, funny that Priest is the 5-mana legendary class, Hunter's the 6-mana legendary class. I don't know. I love hero power Priest decks. I love Reno Priest. I'm okay with Shadow Priest. I like playing it sometimes. It feels good to have a strong hero power. It does. Being able to press the button when you're low on cards and not feel bad about it is genuinely really nice. Then we get to Rogue. So Dagger Mastery is a pretty weak hero power. In weapon-based decks, you don't really want to be pressing it because you either press the hero power and then get rid of it anyway when you play your new weapon, or if you have a weapon equipped that you don't want the death rattle to go off of, pressing the hero, or it doesn't have a death rattle or anything like that, pressing the hero power destroys your weapon. It's really bad in a lot of weapon-based decks, and it's not even that good in non-weapon-based decks because, like, it's still just not that good of a hero power overall. A lot of the time, you're only pressing Dagger Mastery if you have nothing better to do, and that's not good. That's not a good thing. Poison Daggers has been really good. Odd Rogue was at one point one of, if not the best decks in the game. It was dominating over the Wild format for years. It dominated the Standard format while it was still there. It was genuinely really good. Being able to have an on-demand 2/2 weapon for 2 mana is really strong. You could have, like, at the time, you would use cards like Hench Clan Thug on turn 3, which would be a 4/4 because you have the weapon guaranteed. You could get, I think it's called Volpera Scoundrel. That might not be it. It's the Skullman's Academy 3 mana 3/3 that says your weapon has +2 attack. That was really good at one point for Poison Daggers. And then, guess what? It's Rogue and it's odd costed, and a lot at the, like, early on in Hearthstone, the best cards for pirate decks were odd costed. You would have Buccaneer, you would have Prize Plunderer, you would have Patches the Pirate, so you would just have a really strong turn 1. You could curve Buccaneer into Poison Daggers on turn 1, so you would get 3/2 weapons. I talked about Spy Mistress in my Power Creep video as a really strong 1-mana option for Odd Rogue, as it effectively was just a 1-mana deal 3 that your opponent couldn't really deal with, and having Poison Daggers is just really efficient. Being able to do 2 mana 4 damage or more, and benefiting from whatever, you know, effects on your minions that are based on your hero attacking, genuinely was quite strong, and it added up a lot. But again, the issue with Hearthstone nowadays is that pirate decks are just way too good at swarming for other aggro decks because of cards like Parachute Brigand and, well, Patches and Ship's Trojan and, oh gosh, what's it called? Treasure Distributor. Those 4 cards just make pirate decks just over the top. And it's not fun. It's not fun trying to play aggressive strategies that rely on, you know, having some relatively weak turn 2s into, like, pretty okay turn 3s when your opponent is having turn 1s that are stronger than things that you're doing on turn 3. I really hate pirates. I really, really hate pirates. They are the worst design cards in this video game, and Blizzard has, like, just fucked wild by making pirates. It really has ruined the format, this tribe. Then we have Shaman. So remember when I was talking about what the best class was for Sing-Along Buddy? It's Shaman. Using Sing-Along Buddy and then Totemic Call in even Shaman is disgusting. It double discounts your Gigantotem, it double discounts your thing from below, it synergizes unfathomably with Anchor Totem, it's incredible with Totemic Might and Totemic Surge, it's great with your Stone Right, it's great with everything, it super synergizes with the entire deck. Which is a bit sad, because I don't like even Shaman, but credit is due where credit is due. It is the best deck at making use of Sing-Along Buddy. Even Shaman has been a staple in Hearthstone basically since it's come out. It wasn't that great in Witchwood, if I remember correctly. It kind of got better eventually. About Old Doom is where it got really good with Totemic Surge. But as time has come on, they've printed more and more and more totem support. And every time they print totem support, there's a 50-50 chance it's going to cost an even amount. And when it does cost an even amount, it's usually good enough to be running in even Shaman. Nathria was a gigantic expansion for even Shaman. Carving Chisel, Stone Right, Gigantotem, just so good. Anchor Totem came out in Sunken City. It's like they really wanted to push even Shaman specifically by printing all of these even costed totem cards, especially when you consider the odd cost totem cards from this era weren't even that good. Like, you had, oh, I remember what it's called. It's like Totemic Evidence, I think it's called, which where you would, like, summon some basic totems if you had infused with totems died, and it really wasn't that strong. Like, even Shaman has just been really good. Mainly the reason even Shaman has been so good over the years is the fact that it gets cards like Jam Session or Totemic Might or Healing Totem that make it really strong into other aggro decks. It's always been pretty good at other aggro decks when it gets to be online because, well, it trades efficiently, it summons minions as if not more efficiently than other decks, and because of Totemic Might, it has 0 mana, give your minions +2 health, which makes bumping really efficient. Even Shaman has not received support in about 2 years, so it has kind of fallen off, like, a lot lately, but that happens, right? They just didn't feel like printing totem support for a while. It'll eventually come back. They always are going to print totem support. Totem support's always going to eventually have even cards, and those even cards are eventually going to be strong enough to see play, making even Shaman playable again. Then we have Warlock. So Life Tap is probably the best hero power in the game. Has been basically since the game came out. How do I describe this? 2 mana, draw a card, take 2 damage. Seems incredibly simple, doesn't it? It actually allows Warlock to run less card draw than if they would need, because, well, I have card draw on my hero power. I can just press it on turn 2 and draw a card. It damages them, so it's very beneficial with cards like the Quest Line or Dark Lair. You can play it with Tour Guide for a 0 mana tap. And because of cards like Mountain Giant, you have been able to have a lot of handlock strategies in the past, where because Life Tap draws so efficiently, and you don't even have to play cards to draw with Life Tap, you can cheat out Mountain Giants on like turn 4, and then I've talked about Giants, again, in a recent video, where you could give it Taunt, you could give it Wind Fury, you could copy its stats onto a Taunt minion, you could do so many things with these decks. Even Warlock has been very strong for basically the same reason I listed off about tapping. You know, instead of it costing 2, it costs 1, so you can, you know, play some more cards if you want, and it's very efficient. It's been great. Life Tap is amazing in control decks because you can run less card draw because of your hero power. It's great in aggro decks because you can run less card draw because of your hero power. It's just a great hero power. It's the best one, and I mean, it's so funny that the best one also has the biggest downside of dealing 2 damage to you. It's really powerful to just additionally draw a card every turn just because. Just if you want to, if you don't have to play any cards just to draw another card. It's really good. So, although Tank Up and Odd Warrior are iconic, Odd Warrior has been awful. Basically, its entire existence. It was like okay in Witchwood. It was like okay in Standard, and then it's been terrible ever since. People like playing Odd Warrior. Don't get me wrong. I get it. You know, pressing Tank Up is real nice. It's real fun, but it's terrible. It's been bad. It's always been bad. Don't play Odd Warrior. I would actively say playing Odd Warrior is just wrong. If you really desperately want to play a deck like that, just play like Reno Warrior. It's the same fucking thing. So, there used to be a phrase of just hero power pass back in when Control Warrior, like early on in Hearthstone, Control Warrior, no win condition mirrors were like the best way to play the game. Can you believe that was considered high skill gameplay? Was to press the fucking hero power button and pass? God, how the fuck do people think that like shit like that is high skill gameplay? I genuinely don't know. It's insane to me. The best way to play like a hero power warrior has been Even Warrior. Odin came out at 8 mana. Trial by Fire was buffed to 6 mana. All of the best armor cards in Warrior are even costed. It's just, if you really want to play a hero power warrior, you should have played Even Warrior before Odin was nerfed. If Odin gets reverted when he rotates, which might happen, genuinely might, Even Warrior will probably come back, hoping that Trial by Fire also gets reverted. If Trial by Fire doesn't get reverted, there's a chance that Even Warrior will still be bad, even with reverted Odin, but it could always happen. I mean, Odin is like the win condition card for Warrior. It will be the win condition card for Warrior for now until probably ever. I doubt they'll print like a real strong win condition the same way they've printed Odin for Warrior in probably years. Odin has like not been well received. It's not really a control card. It is a combo card, but I don't know. Even Warrior was one of my least favorite decks to ever exist. I'm so happy when it died. I made like a million memes about Even Hunter versus Even Warrior because they are a dichotomy of each other. Even Warrior is a control deck that has 1 mana, you know, heal 2 effectively, gain 2 armor. Even Hunter is like an aggro deck that has 1 mana deal 2 damage, so they kind of counteract each other, but
Even Warrior won the matchup, Even Hunter won the matchup 55-45 over hundreds of games, so get fucked, Even Warrior players.
I just had an alarm go off, my bad. But, I don't know. We're finally done talking about the classes and the hero powers, so let's get to some neutral cards. This one's going to be a bit wordy. So, Justicar Trueheart is the first card to introduce upgraded hero powers to the game. They weren't that good, though. The best one was Tank Up. Blah, 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 blah. I know I talk about Odd Warrior, blah, blah, blah. But Tank Up was kind of the only actually good upgraded hero power. It wasn't really worth playing Justicar Trueheart, especially at 6 mana, by the way. Justicar was 6, not 5. It's 5 nowadays. So playing it at 6 mana really wasn't that worth it for, like, most other classes. I've never, ever in my life seen Justicar outside of a Warrior deck. It's just bad. Like, it's just a bad card. It hasn't been good in forever, and, like, people... I've had people genuinely try and tell me that it's a good card in current Warrior. How the fuck do you play 5 mana 6/4 pass in current Standard? How? It's so bad. Like, it's already hard enough to play, like, Bran. It's hard enough to play Bran in Standard, and Bran is, like, one of the strongest effects ever. So, like, how the hell do you ever play Justicar Trueheart? I don't know. Gen and Baku, of course, came out in the Witchwood, and they upgrade your hero power. Start of game, if your deck has odd or even cost cards, either upgrade it or make it cost 1. Baku was significantly stronger outside of even Paladin for a lot of the early years of Hearthstone. Odd Paladin, odd Rogue. Yeah. Those two decks were just really strong, let's be honest. Odd Warrior saw, like, a lot of fringe play, and it wasn't really good. People tried to make it work a lot, yada yada. It just really wasn't that great. And then, you know, again, you know, even Shaman was kind of not that great at first. Even Hunter didn't really exist. Even Mage didn't exist. Even Paladin was really good, don't get me wrong. And even Warlock was really good. Even Warlock, like, it was played all the time at, like, Master Stores. I think it was played at Worlds. I could not tell you about even Paladin because I think it was just out of the meta by that point. It was something. Gen has obviously been significantly better than Baku as time has went on. That almost feels like it's because, you know, having a 1-mana hero power just is better than a 2-mana hero power. Even if, you know, the 2-mana hero power is technically an upgraded effect. I think just being able to weave in the hero power, play it on turn 1, things like that are just better. It could also in part be to 2 cost cards being better than 1 and 3 cost cards, which is very likely. I think 2 and 4 cost cards on average are stronger than 1 and 3 cost cards, which does say a lot about, you know, the design of the game. But that's neither here nor there. Even decks are also typically just more hyper synergistic with their hero power because the hero power costs 1 and you want to be using it as much as possible. So that is another factor, but there's a million reasons why Gen is stronger than Baku. It's hard to really quantify, especially in a video like this. I couldn't really break it down if I wanted to. I just don't have enough time, especially because I have other cards to talk about. So, Tour Guide has been great. It's great in odd decks. It's great in Warlock. It saw a lot of play in Hunter for a long time just because, you know, 1-mana Steady Shot is really good. 1-mana Ballista Shot is really good. 1-mana The Silver Hand is really good. 1-mana Totemic Slam is pretty good. I didn't talk about odd Shaman because it's not really that good and it's kind of a meme deck, so I didn't really feel like talking about it. But having Tour Guide be able to discount your odd cost hero power to 0 is kind of like the best of both worlds of Gen and Baku. Similarly to like Demon's Claw and Demon's Bite. Of course, you can't run Tour Guide with, you know, odd Demon Hunter, because why would you? But Tour Guide has been really good in Warlock, being able to have, you know, as a 1-cost hero power that you can, you know, bank for your Dark Lair turns is really nice. Lets you draw a lot of cards. Tour Guide's just been such a good card since it's come out. It's seen so much play. It was good in Death Knight in Standard when it was in Standard, because you, again, could have, you know, the 1-cost Ghoul Charge, which is really powerful. Just really nice. So Garrison Commander was bad for a long time. It kind of was only good when Sing-Along Buddy came out, because if you're already doubling up on your hero power, doubling up on it again is really powerful. Garrison Commander plus Sing-Along Buddy has been really, really, really strong. It's made Garrison Commander go from being, like, kind of not that good of a card and kind of just, like, bait in a lot of even decks to being pretty good. You can combine it with, or you can combine them together in Even Druid for, you know, your really strong burst turns. You combine them together in Even Hunter for your powerful hero power turns with your Inspire effects. There's no other decks you really want to be playing it in. I'm going to be honest. Most other decks don't want to be playing Garrison Commander. But in those 2 decks, it has been very, very good. And then lastly, but certainly not least, we have Sing Along Buddy. Sing Along Buddy is the best design card ever. It's the most powerful card ever. It's the best card ever made. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. It's in every deck. It's the most powerful meta card ever. It's been nerfed 800 times. It's been buffed 8 million times. It's actually worth infinite dust if you refund it. It has 32 signatures, and it's my best friend. Sing Along Buddy is everyone's best friend. It's the best card ever. Okay, so basically what it does is it just doubles up your hero power, which is really good in a lot of cases. It's great when your mage hero power deals a lot of damage. It's great when your hunter hero power is dealing a lot of damage. It's great when your shaman hero power wants to be summoning a lot of totems. It's great when your death knight hero power wants to be summoning more bodies. It's just a really good card in even decks. It doesn't really make the cut in most other lists. The only list I've ever seen Sing Along Buddy in that isn't an even deck is either Reno Priest, which I would say it's not that good, I'm going to be honest. Even in a deck that wants to be hero powering that much, I feel like Sing Along Buddy isn't worth it, because it's kind of overkill. And Exodia Paladin, which, again, I recently talked about. Exodia Paladin is something. It's a something deck, alright. It also makes use of Garrison Commander, don't get me wrong. The idea is that you either play Call to Arms to pull them out of your deck, or you just play them from hand, and then you press the hero power twice, and then for 8 mana, after you've played the Uther hero power, you can summon 4 horsemen and win the game. The issue with Exodia, obviously, is that you have to, play Nozdormu, and then play Uther, and then play the combo. So it takes 2 turns of your opponent having 10 mana. Yeah, it's obviously not that great. But, yeah, that's going to be it for me. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Tell me down below, what's your favorite hero power? What's your favorite hero power related card? Do you want any kind of buffs to hero powers? Are you a standard player and you got that 175 hero power quest and it's been literally impossible to complete because you can't press the hero power in standard? Tell me down below. I'd love to hear it all. And yeah, that's going to be it for me. There's going to be a test tomorrow about cards I've talked about this week. It's just for fun. You guys don't actually have to participate, but I will be doing it. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Also, thank you guys for 5,000 subscribers.
Shadows are rising again!
Darker than they've ever been. As evil descends from the skies, the world cries out, how will we survive? Out of the hall of explorers, and up from the dusty tombs. They grab their whips and fedoras. These legends are the